In the 1st century BCE, two of the most powerful figures in the ancient world, Cleopatra VII of Egypt and Julius Caesar of Rome, formed a controversial alliance. Their relationship was not only romantic but deeply political, as Cleopatra sought to preserve Egypt's independence while Caesar pursued his own ambitions. However, their story would be cut short by treachery and assassination. This is the story of Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. To understand Cleopatra's motivations, we must first explore the precarious position she found herself in as the ruler of Egypt. Cleopatra was the last in a long line of Macedonian Greek rulers, the Ptolemaic dynasty, who had ruled Egypt since the death of Alexander the Great. But in 51 BCE, after the death of her father, Ptolemy XII, Cleopatra found herself co-ruling with her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. Their relationship quickly deteriorated. Cleopatra's brother, heavily influenced by his advisors, sought to push her out of power. Forced into exile, Cleopatra would need to fight to reclaim her throne. She knew she could not do it alone, and it was in this context that the arrival of Julius Caesar in Egypt would change the course of history. Meanwhile, in Rome, Julius Caesar was engaged in a bloody civil war against his rival, Pompey the Great. After defeating Pompey at the Battle of Pharsalus in 48 BCE, Caesar pursued his enemy to Egypt, only to find that Pompey had been assassinated by order of Ptolemy XIII, who sought to curry favor with the Roman leader. But Caesar was not pleased. Pompey had once been his ally, and Caesar viewed his murder as a dishonorable act. While in Egypt, Caesar found himself drawn into the country's own civil conflict between Cleopatra and her brother. In one of the most famous moments of ancient history, Cleopatra made her dramatic entrance. Knowing that she needed Caesar's support to reclaim her throne, she arranged to meet him in secret. Smuggled into his quarters, legend has it that she was rolled up in a carpet or bedroll and dramatically unfurled before the Roman leader. Cleopatra's boldness paid off. Caesar, impressed by her intelligence, wit, and charm, agreed to support her claim to the throne. Their partnership would be both romantic and political. As they formed an alliance to strengthen each other's power, Caesar's intervention in Egyptian politics led to open conflict. Ptolemy XIII refused to relinquish control, and a war broke out in Alexandria. Over the course of several months, Caesar's forces fought against Ptolemy's army, with Cleopatra by his side. After months of intense fighting, Caesar emerged victorious. Ptolemy XIII drowned while attempting to flee across the Nile, and Cleopatra was restored to the throne, now co-ruling with another younger brother, Ptolemy XIV. But more significantly, she now had a powerful ally in Julius Caesar. Following their victory, Cleopatra traveled to Rome with Caesar. She stayed in a luxurious villa near Caesar's residence, and her presence in Rome caused a sensation. Cleopatra was unlike anything the Romans had seen before. Her beauty, her intelligence, and her status as Queen of Egypt made her a figure of fascination and, for some, scandal. During her time in Rome, Cleopatra gave birth to a son, Ptolemy Caesar, whom she called Caesarion, literally, Little Caesar. Though Caesar acknowledged the child as his son, the Roman Senate and people were divided in their opinions of this relationship. Cleopatra's presence in Rome represented a powerful, independent Egypt, which many Romans viewed with suspicion. But Cleopatra's time in Rome would come to a sudden and violent end. On the Ides of March 44 BCE, Julius Caesar was assassinated by a group of Roman senators who feared his growing power. The death of Caesar threw Rome into chaos and left Cleopatra vulnerable. Cleopatra fled Rome, returning to Egypt with her son. Her ally and lover was gone, and the future of Egypt once again hung in the balance. But Cleopatra was not ready to give up. She would soon find herself entangled with another Roman leader, Mark Antony. In the aftermath of Caesar's assassination, Rome was divided between his successors, Mark Antony and Octavian. Cleopatra, ever the strategist, sought to secure Egypt's future by aligning herself with Mark Antony, who controlled the eastern provinces of the Roman Republic. Their meeting in Tarsus was a spectacle, with Cleopatra arriving on a magnificent ship, dressed as the goddess Isis. Much like her relationship with Caesar, Cleopatra's alliance with Mark Antony was both romantic and political. Together, they hoped to consolidate power in the East, with Cleopatra providing financial and military support to Antony's campaigns. But their partnership would also lead to conflict with Rome's new rising power, Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir. Cleopatra's alignment with Antony put her in direct opposition to Octavian. In 31 BCE, their forces met in a decisive naval battle at Actium. The battle ended in disaster for Cleopatra and Antony, who were forced to flee back to Egypt. As Octavian's forces closed in on Alexandria, Cleopatra and Antony's fortunes crumbled. Faced with defeat, Antony took his own life, and Cleopatra, knowing she would soon be captured and paraded in Rome as a prisoner, chose to end her life as well, famously using the bite of an asp. Cleopatra's death marked the end of both the Ptolemaic dynasty and ancient Egypt as an independent power. After her death, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. Yet, Cleopatra's legacy as a powerful and intelligent ruler, who fought fiercely to preserve her nation's independence, endures to this day. Her alliances with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony were not just the stories of love and tragedy. They were the actions of a queen navigating a world dominated by Roman power, trying to secure her people's future. Cleopatra's life was a blend of passion, power, and politics, shaped by her desire to preserve Egypt in a time of great upheaval. Her story, intertwined with those of Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, remains one of the most fascinating in history. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more historical stories. Until next time.